Hi, I'm Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100 and your host today on PowerChat. We are very happy to have Steve McNary, not only a Power100 Advisory Board member, but also one of the most influential leaders and CEOs that I've ever met. So, Steve, thanks for joining us, and we're excited to talk today.
Yeah, good to be here, man, always.
So, I just want to kind of remind people of who Power100 is and kind of our mission before we jump into it. We are a national publishing company whose primary focus is to produce and rank the nation's top 100 CEOs in the home remodeling industry. Now, in order to do that, we created a 5-layer proprietary ranking system. And through that system, we've reviewed over 7,600 leaders in the home remodeling industry to obviously get the end result, the top 100 that you see on our website today. Steve, would you mind introducing yourself for the folks that maybe don't know who you are, and also maybe why you joined Power100's advisory board?
Yeah, so I'm Steve McNary. I was CEO of Southwest Exteriors in San Antonio, Texas, window, door, siding company. We also dabbled in concrete coating and window coverings. Was CEO there for about 10 years. Power100, so you guys ranked me number 20 in the country, I believe, in 2022, and was honored by that privilege and to be recognized that way in the industry. Joined the board last year in 2023 after I was medically retired and needed something else to do. But not just that, but man, I wanted to give back to the industry, wanted to be part of what was going on, wanted to stay connected and involved, and it means a lot to me.
Yeah, well, you certainly mean a lot to our organization, and I know you've touched several lives throughout your career. I've been fortunate enough to talk to a lot of those folks, and your leadership is really second to none, and it's very, very unique, and I would say passionate more than anything. Speaking of culture, it's one of our backbones here at Power100. That is that is our primary focus, actually. At the end of the day, because we operate under the context that great companies have great leaders, and with great leadership comes an amazing culture. So my question to you, Steve, is, from your time at Southwest Exteriors, your growth numbers were incredible. Numbers speak for themselves, but it's the stories and the conversations that make that growth possible. Can you talk a little bit about how you created and maintained the culture at Southwest?
Yeah, so first off, everybody's worried about taking care of their client, right? Their customer. But if you take care of your internal client first, you don't have to worry about taking care of your external client. They'll take care of themselves, and those problems will solve themselves. So we really saw, or at least I really viewed the team at Southwest Exteriors as family. And again, team is a word that we used. I didn't see them as employees. We were really a team. I didn't see them as their boss. I saw them as their leader. And vocabulary like that matters because people matter. And I threw all the old adages out the window. I got to know everybody personally. I spent time with them outside of work. I got to know their families. I got to know their spouses or their significant others' names. I got to know who their kids were. I ended up going to family birthday parties, holiday parties, that kind of stuff. That's how tight we were as a team. And that's just kind of who we are. We kind of did life together. When you spend 40, 50, 60 hours with folks, you can't help but to kind of get ingrained in their lives a little bit. And the old adage that people don't know really who you are until they know that you care, it's true. And when you really start to care for who people are, figure out what their dreams are, what really motivates them, who they really are, and what matters to them, and then start addressing some of those things, that's when they know that you really care about them and what matters to them. And that's when you can really start building some loyalty amongst them. That's when you can really find out what starts to motivate them. That's when you can really find out what starts to kind of power them through their day and what's going to drive them. But then that's really when you can really start having deep conversations with them as well. And then when you do need to sit them down and have those accountability conversations, they know that it comes from a place of I'll use the word love, because we loved each other like family. And that way, when you have to sit down and have those conversations, there's some power behind it. And there was some real, I don't want to use the word guilt, but there was some real conviction from people, because they knew they weren't pulling their weight. And there would be some conviction there, and there would be some real, yeah, you're right, I need to get back on it. And they would feel conviction because they were letting their teammates down. And that's why people would then kick it back in and give everything they could in their job, because they knew they were letting their teammates down. And as teammates, they deeply cared for one another. So you didn't have to have those accountability conversations near as often, because they were motivated by their relationships with one another to do their best on the job, to hold each other up and perform their best for one another.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. And then there's that underlining, I guess, assumption that you operate with, and that's clear communication, right?
Yeah.
You just have that engraved in what you do, and that's essentially what you're saying without saying it, right? As far as when accountability comes, because everybody knows their job, knows how they help the family out, knows how they're gonna, win at the end of the day.